The following presentation is brought to you by the Pride of ODU, the official NIL collective of Old Dominion Athletics. Be a monarchist. Join the Pride. Monarch Nation, welcome to the show. I'm here with Aaron as always. Gary is not feeling well, so he is on the IR this week. But we have a special guest that we'd like to introduce. He is a future ODU Football Hall of Famer, Jarod Brown. Welcome to the show, Jarod.
Hey, guys. Thanks again for having us, or having me this time. I guess Plisco's not here, but yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
And you are so used to being attached.
We're always
with him that you're like,
always.
Thanks.
I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know why. It just happens. Everybody thinks we're twins. Like, I don't get it. It's not true.
Well,
he's ugly. So it's fine.
Before we even start talking football, okay, I see your name is up there, and underneath it, I see something interesting. You have got to explain what that means, man.
Okay, look, I'm not delusional enough to think that a kicker is actually JMU's nightmare, but I will say the first time we played them at home, we were down 20-14 at halftime, and I kicked a field goal to make it 20-17, kicked a field goal to make it 20-20, and then kicked a field goal to make it 23-20, and we won 23-20. So there was that. And then the second time we played them at JMU, they went up fairly early, 7-0. We went 3 and out 2 or 3 times, just weren't playing well. And then, Taylor did his thing, got us into range, end of the first quarter, and we had a 47-yard field goal. I'm like, okay, like we got to get some points here. If we go 4 times not score and start the game, like not good. And we go get ready to snap it. And I don't know if they had too many men on the field or whatever they had, but they called a timeout, but like called it right before we snapped it. So we snapped it and I kicked it and we made it 47-yarder, smoked it. And then I had to redo it. And it's like, oh, okay. Like they weren't trying to ice me or anything. It was the first quarter, but they just, happened to have the situation happen. And then bam, nailed it again, kicked the field goal. And then we ended up coming back and, scoring back and forth with them. And we beat them that second time too. So, and, started off the scoring in that game. I don't think I kicked another field goal in that game, but started off the scoring. So I ended the scoring the first time, started off the scoring the second time. So, big to JMU, but that's all I got. So
and that game, you guys were uncrowned, unofficial CAA champs.
Unofficial, ridiculous. That's why I figured I'd wear the old stuff today. This is my my old training hoodie from back in the day, and yeah, since it's JMU week, we gotta pull out all the stops because we want this one bad.
So a couple notes before we get started on football. Later this week, we'll be joined by Taylor Atkins of the JMU Sound Off. We'll be getting their side of the story and what they predict in this game and learn a little bit more about this JMU Duke team. Also, this week is our Toys for Tots drive. We're going to have military all over campus, AAVs, you name it. Harry McBrien, our guy, Major Monarch, has set up a really great day for us to make this an awesome collection day for the kids at the 757. So if you're coming to the game, bring toys or be ready to give us cash. Just pitch in however you can. We appreciate all the help and support, and let's make it happen.
I mean, Letty's fired up. He's saying, hey, toys, new toys, please. No hand-me-downs. They've got to be new, and please bring them unwrapped. That's going to make the jobs of the Marines much better. We will be promoting it on social media. Like Mike said, if you don't have the time to go out and buy a toy or toys, the Marines will kindly accept your cash to get more toys for the kids. But we appreciate everybody's support. Every year it's gotten larger and larger and larger, and we hope that this year is no different. I don't even remember exactly what the numbers were last time, but we're helping a lot of kids in the 757.
Kids.
My kid is losing it right now.
Yeah, give her a toy.
I think we raised like $1,500 last year and hundreds and hundreds of gifts. I think we supplied toys for 350 plus kids last year. I think that was a number, which was our record, and we want to beat that this year. Let's get 400 kids gifts for this Christmas and make their day special. It's our one chance as a fan base to come together and make it a special Christmas for the kids in Hampton Roads as an ODU fan base.
Those future monarchs.
They are. It's great. I mean, we saw, a lot of times with these things, you'll see more toys that are geared towards boys. For some reason, folks forget about the little girls. So, if you're not sure what you're gonna get, maybe grab something that would be good for a girl as well. That way, we've kind of got a good mix of toys.
Or just grab two. I mean, what? Come on, just grab two. Grab
That's
one
better.
for a boy, one for a girl. Bring them both. Then we're settled.
You heard, Jared. That's the deal. One for a boy, one for a girl.
Easy.
That's right. And dog treats for Letty. All right. So, I mean, JMU this week. This is the big one, right, Mike? Doesn't get much bigger at this point in the season.
It's pretty big for us. JMU's already clinched their bowl game, but they're not as much into the race for the Sun Belt crown as we are because they lost to Georgia Southern. And if they don't beat us, they're really out. But so they kind of need a miracle to get through here. We need to just keep winning, handle our business, and JMU is the first part of that.
It's the first part of our little, I wouldn't say wager, but our agreement, right, Mike, too? First part of our agreement. We need it. Look, I really want to come to the watch party, and I want to play golf. That's all I'm saying. I want to do it.
Me too. I'm ready to pay for golf. Let's make it happen.
I don't want to be over dramatic here, but for us, this game this week is kind of the linchpin of the season. The season is going to go as this week goes. As Mike said, we win this game. We don't completely control our destiny because we've got to have, Georgia Southern has to lose a game. But we got to control what we can control. And what we can do is put ourselves in front of JMU, and they can't do anything about it. And then we got Marshall the week after that. And it's going to be the same sort of story that all starts this week.
Yeah, a couple of things too. Well, go ahead, Mike.
I think the bigger part of this is just bowl eligibility. If we lose this game, we'll be 4-6, and we have to win out against a very good Marshall team and a Arkansas State team who's been playing very well this year on the road. I don't think we want to go into another straight final game of the season having to clinch a win to go to a bowl game. So I think we need to clinch it before we go to Arkansas. It would be awful to be 4-6.
I mean, for a lot of reasons. One, it makes the road much more difficult for the team. I think it's important that we get this win this week, not only for the team and not only for those chances, but for the fan base. I mean, let's be honest. We've struggled at sporting events, the bigger sporting events of recent against the Dukes. As much as it pains me to say that, it's been the case. And so our fan base, a win against JMU will go a long way to kind of making things right and getting the momentum going in the right direction.
Yeah, I would say most ODU fans did not make the trip to Harrisburg last year for that great game where we lost very, very narrowly. So a lot of ODU fans' last memories of JMU football is a rout where the game was over by, the end of the first quarter. Streamers are going crazy.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah. That is the last memory of most people have of ODU playing JMU in football. And that's the one we need to wash away.
Get it gone, please.
This JMU team is pretty talented. They are 7 wins in the season. They have 2 losses. They really messed up UNC earlier in the season and made a name for themselves. But they are also capable of playing bad football, which we have seen in multiple games, notably against Gardner-Webb, Georgia Southern. If you can slow down Alonzo Barnett, you have a chance.
Yeah, and he's been inconsistent at times. Kind of one game setting the world on fire, another game of what's the opposite of on fire. I know it's you never quite know what you're going to get. Hopefully, hopefully it's not the on fire one, but we do have. I mean, our defense has been playing well, so I like our chances there.
Yeah, I think that with somebody like Alonzo Barnett, you can't rely on him to have a bad game. You can't just sit there and think. I'm not saying you are, but just sit there and think. We hope he has a bad game today. I think it really just boils down to our defensive line, maybe our linebackers, because we do blitz a little bit, right? We throw the blitz in there sometimes, but our defensive line, our front seven, really putting pressure on him, because it doesn't really matter who you are. If Patrick Mahomes gets a ton of pressure on him one day, he's not going to look like Patrick Mahomes always looks. He'll still do some things because he's Mahomes. But if you put pressure on anybody, it forces them to make quicker decisions, and it forces them to make normally a little worse decisions than they would. So that's what we have to do. We got to put pressure on this kid because he's a good quarterback. He can throw the ball, he can run the ball, he can do it all. And the only way to stop him, I think, is putting a ton of pressure on him.
It's interesting that you say that, Jarod. So, Gary has no voice, and that's why he's not here today. But he did send some notes of his to me and Mike, and that was one of the first big things that Gary mentioned. He talked about how the offensive line can be vulnerable at times. They've allowed a bunch of sacks. He also said that they struggle in blitz pickup against. Okay, I'm not the technical guy, but against the mug and bear fronts, which is a strong point for our defense. So he's hoping that we blitz often and we force Barnett to use his feet.
Yeah, I hope so.
But a big part of blitzing successfully is containment once he's out of the pocket.
Oh, yeah, that's tough.
We've done that well in some games this year. I mean, we did it against Jordan McLeod. We did it well at South Carolina against Lenore Sellers. But we also saw Coastal Carolina, Joey Aguilar at App, both have success with their feet against us. So that is going to be a big decider on how well our defense plays on Saturday.
Well, one thing we struggled with last week was turnovers. We did a lot of things really good, and we should have won that game. But turnovers cost us that game. That's something that we're going to be looking for. That was Gary's number 2 right there. It's JMU lead the country in turnover margin at plus 18. We cannot turn the ball over and allow them easy points. I mean, that's one thing that can put us in a bad position right from the start, and we do not want that to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the goal should always be to win the turnover battle. But when you're playing against a team like that has consistently won the turnover battle in their games, I think the goal is still, of course, win the turnover battle. But if we can stay even, right? If we can just do whatever we can to stay even on the turnovers, maybe nick one here or there, and just not give up free possessions on some, I wouldn't say bonehead plays, but just some unlucky plays, things like that happened in the App game. I think we're going to be all right.
Looking at their schedule, there's one consistent thing about when they're having success versus not, and it's offensive production. So Gardner-Webb, they struggled. That was a 13-6 ball game. They won, but being held to 13 points by Gardner-Webb is rough.
That's not good.
ULM beat them 21-19, and Georgia Southern beat them 28-14. So we need the defense to limit their offense, because if they can get their offense rolling, we know we saw at UNC, Coastal Carolina, Southern Miss, and Georgia State, when their offense gets rolling, they score a lot of points.
Mm-hmm. When you look at those games, do you know if the games that they lost did they win the turnover battle still, or were they? I mean, if they're plus 18 on the year, I would assume at least one or two of them they probably still won the turnover battle.
So Georgia Southern, they actually won the turnover battle. They had four. They forced. I think they had a turnover advantage of 4 against Georgia Southern and still lost 28-14. I don't know about the Gardner-Webb game, but I will tell you in just a moment.
Well, while you're looking that up, I'm looking at the stats of that Georgia Southern game, and one thing that sticks out to me is Georgia Southern rushed for 190 yards, and running the ball is something that we want and need to do. In the game this weekend where they really just put Georgia State to bed, Georgia State ran the ball for 46 yards. Running the ball, controlling the tempo, that tempo of whatever our staff wants to do, throttling up when they want to, but just controlling the tempo of the game with the run. That's really going to be important this week.
So, Gardner-Webb game, they lost the time possession battle by 7 minutes, almost 8. They were 3 of 12 on third down. They weren't that efficient passing the ball. They only had 285 yards total. They had more penalties. They had 1 fumble. No fumbles for Gardner-Webb. I don't see any interceptions, but that's something we've seen this year from ODU. Yeah. We've changed the whole time possession discussion around Old Dominion football. We're starting to win that battle now, and that's something we need to win on Saturday. You slow down the game, you get Alonzo Barnett off the field and keep him off the field where he can't get into a flow. Because what we just said, the points, when they score a lot of points, they kick ass.
Yeah, their defense gets excited. They're playing well. Yeah.
So if you keep him on the sidelines for a lot of the game, he can't get into that flow, and we have a real shot of winning an upset game here because we are the underdogs in this game.
Yeah, for sure. I looked at the UL Monroe game as well as you were looking at Gardner-Webb, and they won the turnover battle in that game as well. Even though they lost the game, they won by 1. They had a pick. They both teams had a fumble that they lost, but JMU had an interception, and they still lost the game. So that's what I'm saying about a team like this. Yeah, of course, win the turnover battle, try to win it by 3 or 4 turnovers. Yeah, great. I just don't really see that happening, and unless it's just lucky for us. So as long as we keep it close, as long as we're not turning the ball over 5 times in the game on some unlucky plays, and then our defense just can't, because of those plays, kind of like the opposite hand of when the offense is playing really well, the defense gets excited and they start playing well. But when the offense plays has issues, I'll leave it at that. The defense is like, holy crap, dude, we've been on the field the whole game. They get tired. There's not much they can do, and it just doesn't work out for you. So as long as our offense stays consistent and we're not turning the ball over, I think our defense maybe will get a couple because they're good. So I think we just keep it close, keep that turnover battle close, and we'll be fine in this game.
And ULM won the time of possession as well.
Did they? Yeah.
Yeah, not by much, 31-28, but it's enough to do what we're talking about, where you keep this offense off the field where they can't get into that. Because you keep them off the field, it's hard to get into that groove.
It seems like there's a pretty consistent game plan against them when it's a really close game or a game that somebody's beaten them. It seems like teams are figuring out the method, but executing that is a little tough. But
that it is. I think health is going to be a very big key in this game. We've seen how it can impact our defense at Coastal Carolina. We've also seen with a healthy defense what we can do against great offenses. So hopefully our linebackers and our secondary are feeling good after this bye week, because we need this to be kind of every man needs to step up and do their job this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're nicked up on the offensive line as well. So hopefully we'll have Santana back. That would be nice to have there.
It would be, because he is there. He's not only one of our better linemen, he is a leader for that group. that those guys look to. And he is just a mountain of a man. And ever since they pushed him into guard while he was beat up, the offensive line had played really well until he got injured. So hopefully we can see him back this week.
Yeah,
Also,
I ran into him when I was. I'm saying I ran into him when I was walking past the Mitch, and he had a huge smile on his face. So hopefully that's a good sign.
Yeah, hopefully. He did tell me before he missed the app game he was playing next week. So I don't know if that can be anything. He's always a positive guy, and he's not going to make anyone else feel bad for him. But that's why we love him. So Devin Roche being back would be nice as well. We did not have him against App. And his speed difference is just – it's so huge.
Yeah, it's a difference maker.
No.
I mean, you're worried about his speed, and if you choose wrong, Colton's speed, I mean, that's a lot of pressure on a defense.
Yeah. And then you got Aaron Young running like a just madman, and that's not fun either. So you get beat up in the middle by that guy, and then you got to catch Devin on the outside. It's like, good God, that's not easy.
I'm interested to see how they defend us this week. Because, I mean, I honestly haven't watched much JMU football this year. I watched the UNC game for a bit, but that's about it. But we saw how differently we were defended at Georgia Southern and at App, and how different it changed our offense. So I'm really interested to see what they do, especially with an extra week of that bye week for Colton had to be huge for a freshman quarterback learning on the go. I think it's going to be huge for him to keep progressing, and we should see an even better Colton this week than we have the last few.
I agree. I mean, our coaching staff has had tremendous success following bye weeks, and they have all that extra time with Colton as well. So, I mean, I'm not going to go against the momentum, the trend.
Yeah, I think that with the App game too, like Colton, I mean, he had 300. I'm looking at it right now. He had 332 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had the interception, but it's the last play of the game for us on offense, and he's just trying to make a play on 4th down, on 4th and long as well. It wasn't like it was 2 yards he needed to get, right? Like he's making a play. It didn't happen through a pick, like whatever. The 4 fumbles, it's just like we talked about it last week, Mike. You know, it's fumbles. It's just not holding on to the ball in the right spot. It's just getting hit weird one time. It's like those things get cleaned up so quick. I'm sure they went through some ball security drills. And like, okay, that's fine. We're not worried about that. It's not like he's out here throwing picks. You know, I don't think Colton had a bad game at all against App State. He's fine. So a whole extra bye week after that, you know, after you're disappointed in a game like that, and then you think, oh, I got to play better. I got to do all these things. But then when we go look back on it, we say, well, he didn't really play bad anyways. So he's probably fired up to come out and really work hard these last week and this coming week to make sure he's ready for JMU. But I don't really think he needs that much improvement anyways. He's playing well.
There's one thing that we learned this last week, and now I'm going to be focused on it 100% on Saturday. It's how he moves in the pocket. So when things break down, we were told, watch his feet. His first step is backwards instead of up into the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
It's backwards, which puts him off balance and and we know it's being worked on. So if they fix that, and he's already doing this, who knows where the ceiling is?
Oh, it's high.
So I got a question for you guys. This is obviously a huge game. It's a very important game for the team. You guys have been in these situations before playing. How do you manage the excitement and that hype for the game? One, it's JMU, so it's our rival. Two, it's a home game. The guys have been away for a little bit. Did not come out too amped up to be able to come out and execute what you want to do. How difficult is that? How do you manage it?
Mike, you want to go first? You want me to start talking?
Oh,
I
you're
have
the
a little
football
story, so
alum.
you can.
You're the football alum. You get first dibs here.
All right. Well, we had a game, and I think this was William and Mary. We had a game where it was William and Mary, the year. I think my first year playing, they beat us on a BW Webb interception. Thomas threw a good ball, and that guy played in the NFL for a reason. He picked us off. We lose the game, and then the next year, maybe it was 2 years later, when we played them. I can't remember exactly when it was with this one, but I remember the situation. It came out. Oh, William Mary's the guys got interviewed. They got asked a question like, "Oh, this is a pretty cool rivalry now because obviously we're so close to them." And then they said, "It's not a rivalry until they beat us." And okay, so for us, like, you know how that goes. We weren't happy about it, and the guys are getting excited. They're getting riled up, and like we got the game tomorrow, right? We're playing. This is Friday night. We're all going crazy. And Wilder, he did something that like when I look back on it now, I'm like, I think it was more for exactly what you just asked, Aaron, than it was for anything else. But to us, it like got us like ready. It got us good to go. He said, "Hey, first personal foul's on me." And he's like, everybody's excited, everybody's going crazy. And he says, the first one's on me, but the second one, like, calm it down. We can't have that. And we all said, okay, somebody's going to do it. Somebody's going to pop someone at the very beginning of this game. Somebody's going to lay somebody out. But then we got to settle in and we got to get ready to go. And we know we got to take care of business. This is not just some crazy wild team that can go out and do stupid things and hopefully win the game with a bunch of penalties, because that's what happens when you get too excited. You get penalties, whether it's for hitting somebody late or if it's for just jumping off sides or so many little things you could do. But Wilder gave us that, and I think it was Eric Saylor, as I think is who it was, that just like, oh, hit a guy out of bounds or something. Like the guy's already out and Eric just crushes him. And he's like, hey, first one's on coach, right? Like, I'm good. Like, he's not getting in trouble for that. And it fired us up, and we're excited, and we're all like, hell yeah, let's go. And then we come out and we win the game, and we played really good football the rest of that game. And I'm not saying that that's what, Ricky needs to do, but in those situations, there's ways to get the guys to understand, like, this is a business trip, or this is like, that's what he would always say for away games, Wilder, or this is, where it's a home game, it's the same thing. It's we have to be locked in 100% of the time. And there's ways to get them to, not be too excited. Maybe give them a little bit of excitement and then, lock back in. That's what happened with us, and it worked. I don't know.
Yeah, I will add, if you're too amped up, sometimes your body is moving faster than your mind can keep up with.
100%.
And you can whiff on a tackle. Like you're not playing centered, controlled football.
You kick a kickoff out of bounds. I did that a few times when I got too excited. Just so hyped that something crazy just happened.
Do that.
And you just cannot control yourself. And you just like, oh, how the hell did I just do that?
I would say there's certain positions that I don't mind a player being too jacked up. Like the gunners on special teams. If they're too jacked up, that's a good thing.
Yep.
Not if you're the guy. Not if you're the guy catching the ball.
No, not at all.
Assuming they still pay attention to the halo rule, but there's other positions like quarterback and offensive line. You need your guys to be focused and kind of centered and understand what the job is ahead of them. Because if they get too jacked up, it gets ugly pretty quickly. Luckily for us, Colton, everyone we've talked to about him, he's like never gets too up or too down on anything. He's that California cool. Like, all right, I messed up. Let's go out and fix it.
Yeah.
And that's why we've seen this kid hit the ground running almost immediately, because the moment is not too big for this kid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This week is that moment, man.
Yeah, I don't know if we really answered your question there, Aaron, about what to do in that.
So what I'm getting from you is, if I were on the team, I should just go out there and give the good old Ric Flair.
Just give him one.
Just give him one.
No, I just think that he's gonna have to do something, say something, to get the guys back to, because you got to get them excited. right? If they're not excited, if they're not going nuts in the locker room saying, "Hey, let's go beat their ass and let's do whatever," and all those things before the game, like that's not good either. You don't want the guys to just go into it like, it's just another game.
How much in a game like this? How much of that is the coach doing that, or how much is it a player or players who are leaders in the team that are making that happen?
It depends on the group.
Yeah,
really.
I think so. I think it really depends on.
I think nowadays with the portal and everything, these rivalries mean a lot to us fans, and it meant a lot to the teams of like Jarod, where they were here for 4 years. But a lot of these kids, they don't know anything about JMU. They didn't go to school in Virginia. They don't know anything about they don't have buddies on that team for the most part. So it's kind of hard to hold them accountable for how much we hate JMU. Right?
Okay, so when are we going to the locker room this week to have this discussion?
God, let me in there and fire him up. Come on, yeah.
You got to grab some of the dudes that have, who have beaten JMU multiple times and go in and talk about how good it feels.
Yeah, it feels great, and we hate them, and we hate them so much.
But having said that about the portal and them not maybe hating them as much as we do, there are players on the team that definitely don't like them because of what's happened in the last 2 seasons. But this is football. If you don't care enough to go out and give your all, you don't belong at this level.
Mm-mm.
So
very true.
It doesn't really matter if it's a rivalry or not. They know what's on the line here. If they want to play for a championship, they have to win this week. And that probably means a lot more than who the other team is. Or at least it should.
Absolutely. No. Yeah, I mean, that's spot on, man. Going back to what we talked about earlier. I mean, really, the season goes as this week goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you can't get amped up for a chance to continue this fight for the division championship, like the division, and playing for the Sun Belt title, I don't know, what is going to jack you up?
Yeah, I don't know that we have any guys on the team that aren't going to be excited for this one and hyped up a little more for this one. I think that the way that it looks like, at least, our team still does a good job with that, regardless of if we have a bunch of new guys. Maybe it's just because they're coming in and they're saying, "Hey, look, this is my first year here, and I want to impress, and I want to, I want to make it known that this is where I want to be now, because I don't really want to go through that transfer again, or for whatever reason." It always seems like the guys are really excited about it, really amped up, really ready to go. And that's what you need. Before the game, that is absolutely what you need. But back to that other point, Ricky is going to have to do something to get them to get here and then get right back to here and then get to that point when we are just firing on all cylinders, executing, making the right decisions, but we're still ready to blast somebody if you get the chance to blast somebody. And it's like there's a fine line between it. And it's
that little room between lunacy and control where you want them, right? Yeah. You don't want them to be playing crazy, but you want them playing amped up a little bit, where they know how much each snap matters.
Yeah, I think that that is a very good point, or I guess a good I don't know what word I'm looking for, but you wouldn't want to have the coach's job, even as much as people talk crap about any coach that there is, any head coach that there is. Like, his job is really difficult because you got to get the guys in the right mindset. You got to do all of the things on top of the fact that you may not be calling the offensive plays or calling the defensive plays or whatever, but you have to basically approve all of that. And you have to make sure that your guys are doing the right things, your coaches are doing the right things, calling the right plays. And then you have to make sure that all of your players are ready to go. And, in a game like this where it matters so much, because obviously we've said it a few times, this game is the one. So that's a tough job. And anybody can say what they want, but I don't envy that man this week. That is a tough, tough job to have.
Yeah, this is a big one. I think the line opened up at 4.5 in JMU's favor. It's going to move quite a bit if bettors are smart. They'll let it get down to like 2.5 because one-score games is our thing. But I have a feeling a lot of the public will jump on JMU with that small number just because of history.
Hey, I mean, we're 2-2 against them, so
We are.
you're talking about recent history. You're not talking about history.
Yeah.
2-2 is 2-2. I don't care that they blew us out once, Mike. I don't care.
I care. That still hurts. Those
no,
memories.
I care. I just mean in terms of the rivalry, in terms of the fact that hey, they've only beaten us as many times as we've beaten them. So,
and the beauty is this year
they're not winning.
We win. We're up 3-2. We get bragging rights again. Bragging rights are on the line this Saturday.
They are. I'm looking at it right now, Mike. I'm seeing 3.5-point dogs.
So that number is bouncing around quite a bit. I've seen it 2.5, 5.5, 4.5, now 3.5. So
it's funny because I think both of these teams, us and JMU, we're both good enough to beat some big names. We're also, we're smaller teams, and we can make the mistakes that some of these really big teams wouldn't make, and we could lose to some teams that we really shouldn't lose to. And so can JMU. They've done it. But both teams can put up the numbers when we want to, and it's I think it'd be a tough one to make the line for this game. That's why
I could see this game being like a 40-point total or like 75. Like I could see this being a shootout or a defensive slugfest.
Honestly, I don't care as long as we got one more point than them.
Seriously, Aaron.
Well,
I'd prefer. I mean, I would love to not, have put the cardiologist back in business this week, but that's probably not going to be the case.
Mm-mm. It's going to be a close game. It is what it is.
All we've said so far, we need this to be a slugfest. That favors Old Dominion in a big way.
We do? I thought we needed to keep Alonzo Barnett off the friggin' field.
Yeah, I mean, I said slugfest just be us.
No, I'm saying a defensive slugfest where it's just a low-scoring game.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no, I got you.
Yeah.
Keep them
we
off.
don't want a shootout. I don't think we want to go into a shootout with this team.
No.
Not at all.
I'd prefer not to do that. I mean, I'd be okay with winning like 40-0.
Yeah.
That kind of
God, wouldn't that be great? Like,
okay,
would be
don't clip that, like, to take it out of context. That would be awesome. I'm not saying that I think that's going to happen.
Already clipped. It's over. It's on Twitter already.
Aaron said.
Yeah.
Aaron's calling for a
40-0.
Actually, they're gonna take that.
There's no way to get there with Ethan Sanchez field goals. 39-0, maybe. Not 40.
Okay. All right. I think it'd be a good time to take a mini break to give our credit to the pride of ODU. What do you say, Aaron?
I think it's a good idea. Let's do it.
This episode of the Monarchist Podcast is brought to you by the Pride of ODU Collective. Their mission is to elevate the experience of student athletes through name, image, and likeness, while also elevating the fan experience. If you or your business are interested in getting involved, you can reach out to us directly or go over to theprideofodu.com. That is theprideofodu.com. Thank you for listening, and go Monarchs.
All right, Monarchs. So before we get back to the talk on JMU, we do want to tease. We have an interview with Ricky Ronnie this week and Colton Joseph that will be coming out. Both interviews are focused on Colton and the impact he's having as a quarterback for Old Dominion. We're excited to bring that to you. It's all thanks to Jay and Alex at the Collective. They helped set that interview up, and we're really excited to bring it to you and hope you enjoy it. I'm thinking that'll be out around midweek or so. Also, we will have a season recap show with both soccer coaches coming out soon. We're not sure on the timeline yet. Then we'll have Mike Jones for the basketball show this week. So stay tuned for that. But back to the topic at hand, JMU. Do you have any other interesting stories from those games, Jared? Because this is the time to share them.
Yes.
Well, I have a story for part of the reason I hate JMU so much. And it's before all of it. All right, so when I was in high school, obviously I was going to try to, get recruited to play football somewhere. And my older brother went to JMU. And then I went and visited JMU with them a couple times. I'm a junior, maybe when I was a senior. I don't really remember in high school. And I'm like, man, this place is where I want to go. Where I want to go play football. That's where I wanted to be, right? And I think there's a pretty good reason for that. If you know what I'm talking about, And if you don't know, then that is what it is. You can figure it out. But I went to their camp, and I did okay. I didn't have the best day. And they had, not one camp. They had 5-6 camps that they brought guys in to take a look. And they called me and they said, hey, look, you were our number 3 guy. No doubt about it. You did great, but we had some guys that are better than you. But our number 1 guy went here and our number 2 guy went here, wherever the schools they decided to go. They said, so look, give us a couple weeks. We're going to prepare an offer and we'll give you a call. And then they just never called me back. And I ended up, going to West Virginia and coming to ODU. So thank you, Clayton Matthews, for not calling me back, because I'm pretty excited about that. But at the time, I did not like JMU. And, that kind of ended up going all the way into the, playing against them twice. And beating them twice. And kicking field goals to beat them twice, but whatever. So,
and winning a CAA championship over them.
Yeah, at their place as well.
That sucks, man. You tell a kid that you're going to call them, and then you just ghost.
Yeah, I'm like
at least man
old.
up and just say, you know what? We decided to go in a different direction.
Yeah,
appreciate it, but
even worse, they already lost out on the 1 and 2 guy, right? Why even say he's number 3?
Yeah, like you're trying to make him feel not, exactly. You're our guy.
No sense. Makes absolutely no sense.
They could have just said, hey, Jarod, you're our number 1 guy right now. We're working on an offer. Just give us a couple weeks. Yeah. But instead, they thought, you're our number 3.
Yeah, it was
Does
weird.
That make you feel
good? That's how it goes. And then, Mickey Matthews.
Number 2.
Yeah. Well, Mickey Matthews is the one that called that timeout. So, wasted a timeout, and I still made the field goal anyway. So, it's just JMU. I just can't. I don't know. There's probably some stories in there that some things that happen. You know what? As I said it, I thought of this one. In that game at home, in the one at home when we were down 20-14 at halftime, I'm fairly certain this was right before the half. Actually, I had it pulled up a little bit ago where I can look at the box score from the old games, and I want to see. Give me like 30 seconds. I'll be able to get it. Not even 30 seconds. I'll tell you what was going on. We were at some point in the game driving down the field, and it gets to, I think it was 4th down. And Coach Wilder, how he liked to do things. Coach Wilder just decided we're going to just go for it for no reason on a 4th down. Whatever. It ended up, so it was in the first quarter. It ended up, oh, no, it wasn't. He scored twice. God, Larry Pinkard, what a guy. He was good. Ended up being a 23-yard touchdown in the second quarter. But it was not really a 23-yard touchdown because Taylor, he fumbled the snap. The snap was off to his right. He cuts back and spins. He cuts back and spins. He cuts back. And he's on like the 45-yard line now. And he just, falling backwards, whatever. I don't know how the hell he did it. Launched it up in the air. And I found the picture for Larry and sent it to him of him reaching up in between 3 JMU defensive backs and catching the ball and landing flat on his back in the end zone. Unbelievable touchdown.
How hype were you guys with that? Because that play was crazy.
Insane.
By the way, still one of my favorite ODU football photos ever.
Yeah, of Larry?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. I think it's on my Facebook because back then I didn't know how to send somebody something. So I posted a couple pictures of the guys from those type of games and was like, hey, here's the picture of you. Here's the picture of you, whatever. And I found that one of Larry. I mean, what an unreal catch. That dude was crazy. And I'm sure if I remember it correctly, we went crazy. But for me, I had to go out there and kick the extra point right afterwards. So
actually, I just pulled it up. No, I found it.
Did you?
Brian Parsons has it on his YouTube, Mike. I should totally share this right now. It's freaking crazy.
As the video or the picture?
What's the video?
It's the video of the whole play.
It's the video.
Oh, I would
It's
love
on
to see it.
YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't seen.
You want me to bring it up, Mike?
Sure. I mean, this is an amazing play.
Wait. With me. Right.
Taylor's so good.
Crazy. So he's on the 40-yard line. But it's only 2. Whatever. I said it was 3. It's only 2. It doesn't matter. Incredible.
Those black unis are sharp, dude.
Oh, they were good. What is this cameraman doing? Come on, man.
B-roll. He's getting B-roll. The fans going nuts.
Yeah. What a play.
Oh, he fumbled that on purpose.
He did. He fumbled it. I thought it was farther out to the right.
He shook him. Watch number 6.
Ooh, goodbye.
Taylor, chuck it.
Unreal. I guess I embellished a little in my mind of the landing flat on his back and the 3, but it's just one of those things. I haven't seen the play in years, but man, that was insane. Larry was something, and Taylor was obviously, but we all know Taylor was, but Larry, man, that dude.
Yeah, you guys had some pretty kick-ass receivers.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the whole.
But was it that game or the year after that Chris Burnett had that big sack?
The year after, that was at JMU. Yeah, the big
that needs to be mentioned because that was a huge sack.
Yeah. In that game, so the kicker for JMU then actually is a friend of mine who went to West Virginia with me, and we both transferred because they had.
So they chose. Was he their number 4?
I have no idea. I don't know, but he, him and I both said like the same time we're leaving West Virginia. 9 kickers. There's no point in that. And so he ended up contacting JMU, and I contacted Coach Z right away. Well, I didn't. My dad did. We didn't do anything illegal. That was because that would have been illegal if I had called him, but I didn't. But we, made that connection, and I was coming here. I wasn't going to JMU. No chance after what they did. But Cameron ended up going to JMU, and we both played all 4 years. I think maybe he had to sit 1 year and played 3, but in that game he had a chance to tie. He had like a 40 something yard field goal to try to tie the game, and Craig blocked it, and that's how we won the game. Last play of the game. That's how we won the game. Oh man!
Now I know the game in Norfolk, it was raining pretty much the whole day.
It was. Yeah, it was raining the whole time.
It was one of my most favorite ODU tailgate memories of all time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I was still a student at the time, so we didn't have tailgate passes. And I always looked on Craigslist for tailgate passes. So me and a couple friends, we get this tailgate pass in the lot that's near Hugo Owens' house. I think it's Brown lot. But we go, we bring tailgate chairs, a cooler, and like subs. Completely unprepared.
Y'all were highfalutin.
Completely unprepared. This nice gentleman next to us welcomes us. It starts pouring rain. We're getting soaked. He welcomes us into his tent and his tailgate, and the whole day is just made better immediately. This guy was pulling Grey Goose out of just pulling it out like out of nowhere. Bottle empty, just another one shows up somehow. Best host I've ever had at an ODU tailgate. And that's kind of that moment where I'm like, I am going to be that welcoming tailgater as soon as I get my passes. And that's kind of why we do what we do. Because that guy was so good to us in such a gross day. So that's why we welcome people that have no home to our tailgates. Shout out to that guy. I have no idea.
Guys, that's crazy. My
name Monarch.
A fun fact about that day is my parents did not. It's like one of the only games in my entire career that they didn't come to, and it was because my older brother, was like getting commissioned into the Navy that day, So it was like, okay, like you have to go. That's fine. Go, like, whatever. And then it turns out that the game turns out the way it did, or I don't remember exactly how it all happened, but with my brother and all that, like why exactly, what time the timing was. I think maybe they left at halftime or something. I don't remember exactly, but it was one of the only games where they didn't get to see, and I kick a game winner, and they didn't get to see it against friggin' JMU. It's like a big deal for us, and they didn't see it, so it was crazy.
And you still love them.
Yeah, I guess. My mom, my dad. Just kidding.
And I'm trying
He's
to
probably
remember.
gonna watch this now. I hope he does. So
We know that game was aired, but who aired those games back then? I don't even remember. Was it ESPN
we were
3?
on Comcast Sports a lot.
Yeah, and every great once in a while, it get picked up on a local channel, or Cox would pick them up every once in a while.
Yeah, the Cox local channel did a bunch of games. Yeah, because we didn't get ESPN Plus. We weren't that cool. So,
how cool is that now, though?
It's awesome. I feel like a couple years after I graduated, we still weren't getting that. I wasn't getting to watch every game, like every away game.
We're a Conference USA TV, or as Mike let us know, gas station TV. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did have most of the football games on ESPN Plus, Conference USA.
Maybe it was, I don't know. Maybe it was the very early.
Yeah, it was like right after. The year after, a couple of years after I graduated, I just don't feel like I got to watch every away game. But now, like if I can't go, I still get to watch every game. It's awesome.
And for most sports, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Are you guys ready to make your predictions for this one?
Oof.
Sure.
Well, let's start with Gary's. So we kind of teased it. I'm going to read it off. He had one more note I don't think we talked about. Well, we kind of touched on it on our own. But he says JMU has limited rushing attacks this year, partially because they've been ahead and they force teams to throw. So he wants us to establish the run, stick to the run, control tempo, and the offense will find success. He loves ODU plus 4.5. This should be a field goal game either way. He is calling for a Monarchs victory. They're going to cash his win total bet over 4.5, and they'll stay in position to win the East. He adds a final go Monarchs. I like that pick. Who wants next?
We'll give it to Jarod, our guest.
All right. With all the things we talked about, I think the big keys are things that are fixable from last game. The turnovers, taking the time of possession from JMU. I'm not saying that was something we needed to fix, but taking the time of possession from JMU, keeping the running game going when we're having success with it, things like that. I really think we can do it. I really think we're going to do it. I think we're going to play a complete game. But we are ODU. We are going to play it close. I'm not expecting another Georgia Southern blowout, right? So I'm not going to go there. But I do think with the way this game has to go for us, I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to pull it out. And I'm going to go back to that old first score. I'm going to say 23-20. I think it's going to be a close game. I think like Gary said, sorry, Aaron, should be about a field goal game. They're never going to let us take it away. And Ethan Sanchez can kick game winner now and then. So that'd be nice to see.
All right, Aaron. You betting cleanup or?
I'll go wherever you think that I fit best in this lineup, Mike.
Let's see what you got.
All right. Well, like we've mentioned multiple times during this episode, this game is the most important game of the season. The guys know that. The fans know that. Ricky's coming off of a bye. We know how tremendous he's been coming off of a bye. What's that record, Mike?
I don't remember the total, but I know it's unbeaten. He's never lost after a bye.
Never lost after a bye. Right.
I believe he's 5-0, but I don't. The record is.
It's irrelevant. He's never lost, and that shit ain't changing this week. We're going to win. Colton's going to learn from the last game. Going to get some of those ball security issues taken care of. And Ethan Sanchez will kick a field goal, but it's not going to be needed. We win by 10.
I like it, Aaron.
I
10-point
like that.
win. I'm feeling a little froggy right now. Unlike you guys, I've been staying away from predicting the points the last few games. It had worked until App and those 4 turnovers kind of threw everything into the mud. So I'm back to on the point. I feel like we're going to kick their ass.
Let's go!
We've had some talks with some
Love it.
players. There's some dudes that want to kick their ass, and this is the best chance we've had to do that in a while. We're getting healthier. We can control the trenches. This team got dominated in the trenches by Georgia Southern. What did we do in the trenches against Georgia Southern? We knocked their ass out. To me, I mean, transitive properties don't always equal, right? But I'm using that game as a basis for why we're going to kick their ass. ODU wins by a lot.
Save your receipts for those purple streamers. Shit's getting taken back to Party City.
Please take it freaking back to Party City.
Please
I don't
God.
want to see those damn things at all.
They'll be bringing them.
Oh, I know.
Like we said last week, though, Mike, they can take them out afterwards, too.
They can.
That should be the rule. You throw them, you got to pick them up.
No, I mean
What a
unused.
freaking-
Aaron.
oh, I know that.
Unused.
Oh, I
In the
know. I'm just
boxes,
having a whole nother
take them
discussion.
out of the
Freaking
stadium.
damn litter.
Look like idiots walking out with your box of. Oh man, please!
I will say, any JMU fan listening, throw your streamers, but remember, you are a visitor here. Pick up your damn trash. It's rude. That's all it is. It's rude. It's cool. It's a cool tradition. It looks great on TV. Looks great in pictures, but it's rude.
Yeah, have it attached to you and reel that shit back in. Be cheaper. Just have a reusable streamer.
Well, you get beer on it, wet. It gets wet and gross.
Hey, I don't care. They can wash it. He's selling that shit at odumonarchist.com.
Yeah. I'm excited for this one. Should be a great day on campus. Sell out. Student section sold out. They're going to be jacked up.
Oh, yeah.
4:00 kick. ESPNU. We're not on the plus this week, which is nice.
Nice.
So hopefully we put on a show for everyone that is watching on the U this week, and we can continue this momentum where we are playing for this division all season long.
I'd imagine this is going to be a I don't know how many recruits will be at this game, but I'd imagine there will be some. It'd be nice to be able to convincingly to play a good game against a team that we're clearly recruiting against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll also be nice to see JMU fans leave sad. That's always fun.
Great day.
All right. You guys have got any closing shots before we close this out?
I would just like to bring up the fact that this game is Toys for Tots. I know we talked about it earlier, but I just wanted to have one closing salvo. We appreciate everybody's support over the last 5 years or so doing this. Thank you so much. Please help us as the Old Dominion community take care of the kids in this community. We really appreciate it.
You heard the man.
Yeah,
Also
bring
join the
one
club
for a
if you
boy,
need-
one for a girl. Bring them both. I will
Bring-
be. I'll bring both.
So bring toys, boys and girls, or bring cash. JMU fans, if you're listening, we would love your support. You guys did show out really great 2 years ago. And we appreciate your support of this. So if you are listening, please bring a toy or cash to pitch in for these kids, because these are kids that don't have much. These aren't the kids down the street from you that have everything. These are kids that have almost nothing, and then they need to have a good Christmas. They need this. So pitch in if you can.
And like Mike mentioned earlier, if you're a Duke fan traveling, you don't have a tailgate, you don't have someone that you know of. People are very friendly in our tailgate lots. Walk around, people will be welcoming. As much as we like to, we want to win this game and joke around on the podcast. It's all in good fun. I mean, we do want to kick your ass. It's all in good fun.
I'm
Stop by a
not joking
tailgate.
when I say I don't like that.
But we will share. We will happily share a beer,
Definitely.
or whatever you happen to be having at your tailgate this weekend, Jarod.
Yeah, something.
I don't love the school, but I've met some cool JMU fans. So
Yeah, I mean, my brother and sister-in-law went there, so I don't have any issue with the people, the fans. Like, yeah, no big deal at all. But the football, that's where I draw the line. Okay, the football.
So yeah, and if you have nowhere to go, you're
I
always
do have
welcome
one last
to
thing to say, actually. Plisco said it last week. He's not able to be on here this week, but it was about this game because we had the bye. We need the fans, anybody who's listening, to get up and be loud in these games. Sometimes I feel like on my side, I'm one of the only people standing up yelling during some situation, like just going nuts, like losing my voice and whatever. See all these people just sitting down, just going, "Oh yeah, we scored, woohoo, yeah." We need it loud. It is something different when that place is lit up and it's loud and it's tough to play in. It used to be tough to play in, partially because we were loud, and we need it again. We absolutely need it again. And this game, if there's any time to do it, I know the students are going to do it. The students have been doing it all year, but we need the season ticket holders that are going to show up to be as loud as possible because we got to throw them off their game. They're a good team. So please do it. Please be there. Show up early. Get drunk if you have to be loud. I don't care. Be loud. Figure it out. Go Monarchs.
You heard the man. Get loud. Bring toys. Go Monarchs.
Go Monarchs.
Yes, sir. Go Monarchs.
And join the collective. We need your help.